Nike just released a brand new commercial featuring Caitlyn Clark and her new Kobe shoe that she released today. There's a shot when she's in the locker room and she opens her eye and it like turns into what looks like a snake eye, but when you zoom in, it's actually the Kobe logo in her eye. And as you know, Kobe's nickname was the Black Mamba. I just felt like across the board, this commercial was a 10 for 10. And a lot of people have been getting on Nike because they don't feel like they have been promoting Caitlyn as much as they should. But
Nike just broke the internet, and not in a good way. Caitlyn Clark's Kobe's vanish faster than your Wi-Fi during a Zoom interview. Now A'ja Wilson's fuming like someone stole her lunch and her signature shoe deal. What's going on? Sneaker war? Marketing stunt? Pure chaos? One thing's clear. Nike's sweating harder than a rookie in Game 7. Stick around because this drama's got more twists than a reality show hosted by Dennis Rodman. Let's dive into the meltdown.
So Caitlyn Clark's signature PE Kobe Bryant shoes came out today. Now, news is coming out that the shoes, like I stated, was sold out in about 10 minutes. With all that being said, man, I ain't wasting no time. Let's head on over to X, pull it up right now. Now we do know Caitlyn Clark Nike commercial dropped yesterday as well, and a lot of people probably didn't know this, but it was a reason why that Nike commercial dropped yesterday when it dropped, because it was to coincide with the signature Kobe PE shoes that came out. Now,
just like that, the shoe game turned into the Hunger Games. One minute you're eyeing an A'ja Wilson sneaker thinking, hey, this could be fire, and the next you're dodging comments about white privilege aimed at Kelsey Plum like it's dodgeball at recess. It's wild out here. A'ja could have had people lining up for her kicks, but now half the fan base is sprinting in the opposite direction. Not even the resale market can save this PR nosedive.
In incredibly surprising news, Nike has decided to push the button on Caitlyn Clark in a way that I think represents an increase from anything that they've done thus far. We've, followed on the channel for quite a while about the lack of promotion, the lack of merchandise, the lack of everything kind of for, Nike support of, presumably their most valuable athlete right now.
Her team clearly thought this was the time to speak truth to power, or whatever TED Talk they were channeling, but instead they served up a piping hot mess. Somewhere out there, A'ja's PR team is having a meeting that feels more like a hostage negotiation. You could feel the air leave the room when fans realized her idea of empowerment was dragging one of the most beloved teammates in the league through the mud with race-based accusations that felt more like a Twitter thread than a mature take.
And we've been waiting now for how long to get something from Nike on Caitlyn Clark? How long has it been? Has it been a year, a full year, for us to get something on Caitlyn Clark that is specific to Caitlyn Clark? And they do it hand in hand with the drop of the new sneaker that she has, for which I'm going to include in this conversation, because let's be real, Nike has dropped the ball incredibly when it comes to anything and everything related to Caitlyn Clark, including...
Like, congrats, now your future shoe is getting side harder than an unseasoned casserole at a cookout. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark is out here doing everything short of walking on water. She's dropping dimes, draining threes from the parking lot, and carrying an entire league's relevancy on her back while people debate whether she's been too marketed. Oh, please.
So we all know this was the scene yesterday. Actually, it was the Kobe Bryant logo in her eye, wasn't a snake. I thought it was the snake eye. That's hard. Shout out to CC the Press, man. No, it was Soul Retriever that caught it. Wow, everybody thought it was a snake eye. It was Kobe logo. Now, this is the post that we're talking about. Now, this came from NBC, and I'm guessing this is overseas because the date don't add up, because it's not July 1st here in the United States. It's Monday the 30th right now.
Nike didn't even market her. They just put her name on a box and let capitalism do the rest. The Clark effect is so strong she could have sneezed into a tissue and someone would have turned it into a collector's item. And don't even get started on those vanished Kobes. Gone in 60 seconds? No, gone in a blink. The moment they hit the site, it was like a digital stampede. People were clawing their way through online queues like it was the last bottle of water in a Nike didn't need to do a full campaign. They didn't need billboards or commercials. They could have mass-produced those neon sweatband halos she rocks during warm-ups, slapped her initials on them, and cashed in like it was Black Friday on steroids. But no. Instead, they hesitated. They fumbled. They let the hottest brand in sports culture sit on a shelf like expired yogurt while they tried to figure out what demographic she speaks to. Newsflash, all of them.
Nike finally delivers Caitlyn Clark PE. Is this the first Caitlyn Clark exclusive Nike commercial since she's entered the WNBA? I know she's made a cameo here, she's made a cameo there, she was featured as part of this rollout here, featured as part of this rollout there, but is this our first official Caitlyn Clark solo commercial since she has joined the WNBA?
Because here's the thing, Caitlyn doesn't need saving. She doesn't need framing. She doesn't need a carefully curated narrative. She is the narrative. She is the moment. While some folks are busy trying to re-engineer the cultural meaning of women's basketball, she's out here dragging her team to relevance, putting butts in seats, and exploding every tired stereotype with a pull-up jumper. And Nike? They could have had her design a shoe a year ago and printed money with every box. Instead, they gave us radio silence. The poor girl just showed up to play basketball and somehow got dragged into a sociology dissertation. One minute, she's running pick and rolls. The next, she's being dissected like a case study in a freshman seminar. The irony? She didn't even say anything. All she did was exist in the WNBA. Apparently that's enough to launch 1,000 think pieces.
On about, Caitlyn's bigger than this. She's like, why are they doing Kobe Bryant shoes and all that? From, some people. Other people were excited about it. Like, what this represents is like Nike tying her with an already kind of iconic basketball brand, which is like their, one of their biggest brands that they have, and then rolling that into what will be her shoe later in the year that a lot of people are talking about. And these things are going to sell incredibly crazy.
And don't mistake it. This isn't about gatekeeping the spotlight. This is about understanding who's actually earned it. Caitlyn Clark wasn't handed anything. She turned sold-out arenas into the norm. She gave college basketball ratings that had TV execs crying tears of joy. She made people care, and for some reason that's being treated like a problem instead of a win. In what universe does a player who reinvigorates an entire sport get treated like she's hogging the mic? Asia had a chance to ride the wave, to celebrate the attention women's basketball is finally getting. Instead, she picked a side of the conversation that reeks of insecurity and bitterness. Like yesterday, give her full control. Colorways, logo, materials, the whole thing. Let her name it the Sniper or Ice Queen or even just produce it and watch it break every sneaker's sales record in the book. Because the longer they wait, the more it looks like they're trying to figure out how to tiptoe around a fire they refuse to put out.
Was due. I feel like in the past month or so, they have been tweeting about Caitlyn more, and then obviously with this shoe release, they made this super sick commercial to promote it. And of course, just today, Caitlyn Clark's new Kobe PE shoe sold out in less than a minute. And I saw so many tweets about this, so many people who were so sad that they missed out on this shoe. I saw that there was this one Dick's store and people were lined up around the corner, like camping out, trying to get the shoe. I also heard that Nike stocked about 14,000 of these, and that is an unconfirmed report. But
no more think pieces, no more hot takes, no more what about me energy. Caitlyn Clark is the face. That's not up for debate. And every second spent pretending otherwise is costing Nike millions and the league momentum. They had the golden goose. They gave it the silent treatment. They could have made her brand the heartbeat of Gen Z and sports culture overnight. But instead, they let the chaos cook. And speaking of chaos, the Clark shoe resale market is now a digital black market. Prices are skyrocketing, bots are in full force, and sneakerheads are fighting with suburban dads in Reddit threads. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark could sell snow to a polar bear, and Nike is still out here evaluating her brand strategy. Absolute madness. She is the reality that hype wishes it could be. People want to dissect the numbers, the ticket sales, the social media traffic, but the truth is, Caitlyn Clark could be averaging 5 points a game and she'd still be on everyone's lips because of the way she carries herself.
But the Fever Star, for those who don't know, her own player edition of the Nike Kobe 5 Protro released in Fever colors. Woo! Whew, sold out within minutes. Yes, that's right. And yeah, they had a few more available than they did for Asia Wilson's signature shoe. And I think Nike is, now that they actually have a timeline for the Caitlyn Clark signature shoe, they're starting to change things up just a little bit with Caitlyn Clark.
But here's the kicker. She's not averaging 5 points. She's putting up numbers that make seasoned vets double-check their stats and wonder if their careers were just elaborate warm-up acts. She doesn't just walk the walk, she sprints it in transition, no look, passes it to a teammate, then calmly nails a 30-foot three while opponents are still tying their shoes. That's what sets her apart. You can't manufacture that kind of presence. It's not just a game, it's grace under fire. And while others are out here composing soliloquies about being overlooked, Caitlyn's grinding on the sidelines after getting battered by some of the most physical defenses women's basketball has seen in years. She's standing up for her coach while injured, calling out refs on garbage calls like she's running a side hustle in officiating accountability. The woman's barely able to run a full court, but somehow still manages to be the loudest voice on the bench. She's cheering on plays like she just won the lottery. You can feel the fire in her eyes every time her team sinks a bucket or gets a stop.
So the WNBA player Caitlyn Clark has a shoe deal with Nike to sell Kobe Bryant sneakers. They released yesterday and they sold out within 5 minutes. And the only thing I have to say about this is Angel Reese could never. I'll keep comparing Angel Reese to Caitlyn Clark. It's not a competition. Caitlyn Clark's ahead by miles. He was the #1 draft pick for a reason, people. There are men in the NBA who have shoe deals, and they can't even get their shoes to sell out as fast as Caitlyn Clark.
That's not performance, that's investment. This isn't about brand building or camera angles, this is who she is. Meanwhile, the Asia Wilson energy is starting to read less like leadership and more like a reality competition show where everyone's fighting for attention with passive-aggressive comments and side eyes. If you stacked Caitlyn's humility next to Asia's current PR tour, it wouldn't be a comparison. It'd be a full-blown NASA launch, separating them at light speed. It's the vibe, the whole aura. Caitlyn Clark walks into an arena and shifts the energy like a sports psychic. Opponents feel it, coaches feel it, refs feel it, even if they still manage to hand her technicals for blinking wrong. She could score 0 points in a game and somehow still be the biggest storyline of the night. And not because of drama, but because of the respect she commands without ever demanding it.
So let's take a look at this video. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to drop the video for you on Caitlyn Clark. Yes, there's some cute things in the video, but realistically, it doesn't do much for me. Let's take a look. So here is the actual commercial. Take a look.
That's what's eating certain players alive. While others are handing out lectures on recognition and equity, Caitlyn just is. She doesn't demand attention, it finds her, then drapes itself around her like a royal cloak made of shooting sleeves and humility. You can't manufacture authenticity, and you sure as hell can't fake the kind of poise that makes you cheer for your teammates harder than you'd cheer for yourself, especially when your knee is swollen like a grapefruit and you've been getting fouled harder than a stolen debit card. Even her critics can't help but sound unhinged. She's simply doing what 99% of athletes claim they're about, playing the game, respecting the process, and lifting her team with nothing but grit, IQ, and a jump shot that could humiliate a brick wall. Her being sidelined should have been a dip in energy for the Fever.
If you are hoping to get your hands on the Caitlyn Clark version of Nike's Kobe Bryant sneaker, you're out of luck. They are out of stock. The WNBA star teamed up with Nike for a player edition of the Kobe 5 Pro Tro, decked out in Indiana Fever colors. You see them on your screen. They dropped at 10 a.m. Monday, and they sold out before 11 a.m. In fact, in just minutes. The $190 kicks are already showing up on the secondary market at close to double the retail price.
Instead, she became the unofficial assistant coach, the one shouting matchups, alerting teammates, talking refs into better calls, and still somehow managing to sell out arenas while wrapped in an ice pack. She's built like a competitor, but wired like a leader. That's not a duality you find often in sports. It's usually one or the other. But Caitlyn, she's the unicorn. Meanwhile, over in Team Frustration HQ, there's a new press cycle every other week, filled with complaints about media attention, team narratives, and historic snubs. Somehow, it always leads back to Caitlyn, even when she's not the one talking. Because deep down, everyone knows it's not just the stats. Incredible. What we're witnessing isn't just basketball, it's a cultural shift. Caitlyn Clark is Gen Z's answer to a superstar. Authentic, humble, fierce, and never trying to play the martyr. She's not trying to prove the haters wrong, she's just trying to win games and make plays that look like they belong in a video game glitch reel. She doesn't need a viral quote. She is the moment. Even when she's sitting out, her presence is louder than half the league combined. You can feel the difference when she's on the bench. The energy changes. The camera still finds her. The crowd still chants her name.
Is part of her 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike. Think about that, folks. Now I don't know in this, I'm going to just be upfront because I don't want to mislead. I don't know if in that statement he's, thinking about including other things that, ancillary stuff that comes off of that shoe and sort of making it a merchandise thing, sort of the way the Air Jordan brand became a thing above and beyond the Nike Air Jordans that came out at first, and if he's kind of lumping all that together. But that is a massive amount of money, folks.
And she still finds a way to affect the game, even with a leg that probably deserves its own Netflix documentary at this point. If Caitlyn Clark were playing in any other era, she'd be the undisputed face of the league, without question. But somehow at this moment, people are still trying to treat her as a controversy instead of a catalyst. And the irony is, she's the most uncontroversial superstar we've had in years. No antics, no drama, just basketball and big game composure that players twice her age are still trying to emulate. A'ja Wilson may be talented, no one's denying that. But when it comes to who embodies the future of the National Cricket League, she's out here creating moments. And if Nike's even halfway awake, they'll slap her name on every sneaker, sweatband, and billboard before she walks into another arena. Because this isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about legacy. And Caitlyn Clark, with every cheer from the bench, every assist, every bounce back from injury, is building one, brick by brick. No noise, no gimmicks, just greatness.